Let's talk about North Melbourne. I know it's still relatively early into the Alistair Clarkson reign, but I just wonder, comparative to what other clubs have done previously when building from the bottom up, Josh Dunkley gave an interesting insight, the Brisbane Lions midfielder, before playing.
Feel like they like to take the game on. They've got some really young, exciting players off half-back that, like to springboard the footy from that area of the ground. And we just thought if we kept it in our half and tried to make them defend a little bit more than what potentially they have in the past few weeks, that it might expose them.
OK, so what he was basically saying is they play a high-octane brand of footy, Kane. If you put enough pressure on them, eventually they'll make enough mistakes. This is back in 2014 when Paul Roos was brought in to basically teach this young Melbourne team how to defend. You try to get one part of it right and then you move on to the next part. And we know that they naturally transitioned, Kane, into Simon Goodwin, and then they started scoring. I just wonder, are they lambs to the slaughter a little bit too much too early?
Well, you need to do it. You need to do it all. Is the answer to it? So whether
which one comes first?
Well,
they all go in with each other.
They intertwine with each other. But I just wonder, because they were spruiking it so heavily, whether they flagged it with every other team in the pre-season. This North ball rubbish that we've heard. I mean, it's just so easy for good teams to pick off, and then to Lordo's point, you're turning it over and you're kicking it back into the worst back six we've seen in the last 20 years. That's the facts of it. So there's a lot of pressure, as you and I both discussed prior to the season starting, on Alistair Clarkson. Does he still have it? It's been a long time since there's been final success. Have there been any...
You've been strong on this for a while.
Or does he just not have the cattle, Kane?
Well, it could be both, Lordo. But he was at Hawthorn for a long time with little success at the end there, and we know that the drafting and recruiting history wasn't great. Hasn't won a final for a long time. And I mean, it's the first pre-season he's had. I get it, and these players will come through and improve, but I haven't seen anything in the last 12 months that would say that there's been significant improvement. One change I'd make, just with, we don't care about disposals anymore. No one cares how many touches you get. So you look at it, Sheezel's averaging 34 touches. Amazing. Reigning rising star. We love his talent, great ball user. But he's wasted doing this. A lot of his stuff is stationary, sideways, lateral kicks, short, takes a lot of the kick-ins, averaging 3.5 score involvements from 34 touches. This is the way that he should be playing. He's a far more talented player than Brian Myers. We know as a forward in his junior, in some pre-season games that he played in his first pre-season, outstanding. So
they're wasting him.
I think he's wasted. 22 touches and 7 score involvements is about what Brian Myers averages, and he's kicked 4 goals for the year. I'd much rather see Sheezel play that style and be damaging rather than behind the ball, lateral, 34, 3 score involvements and not a lot of damage.
So the pressure has moved relatively from Chris Fagan. He was strong after the win over North on the weekend, as was the club's director, Lee Matthews.
I thought our players showed their togetherness today and their energy and their brotherhood. We were very determined today to show the footy world that we are a united group, never in doubt, but sometimes you just got to show it so that people who want to talk about those things maybe stop for a little while anyway.
I think if there's a frustration in the club is that unbelievable beat-up about that trip away thing. That is an absolute beat-up. There was nothing in it, ever in it. And when Sam McClure came up with the rumours and innuendo that it's created some angst amongst the playing group. But in the last 10 days, I've spoken to enough people around the club who trust their views. There was never anything in it.
Was there ever anything in it?
I think there was. I mean, with the greatest amount of respect, it's always the club involved are not going to be the ones saying there was angst amongst players. They're talking about it a lot for something that apparently didn't have... It was the first thing that Chris Fagan talked about in his post-match press conference. He was going to talk about it last week. I spent 30 seconds talking about this story and haven't since.
Because a lot followed you after you went.
Yeah, but if you
had your time again, would you have done the same thing?
Yes.
Thursday night, that's where I think North and West Coast is such a problem for the competition. That I look at the fixture and where can the pressure valve release come from? And that's all it's been for Brisbane. They've been awful, they've been underwhelming, they've cracked under pressure, and now that has given them a bit of respite. But they play Melbourne on Thursday night, and to me, that is going to say everything we need to see about the Brisbane Football Club in 2024.
Do you expect them to win?
No.
Do they need to win?
Yeah, they need to win this game. Yeah, otherwise they're going to be chasing their tail the whole season. But, I'm not sure about them.